Hey folks, welcome to Sunday Night Futures Live. This is Bob Desmond over the Contrarian Trader, and thank you for spending a few minutes of your time on a Sunday night with us. It's going to be a jam-packed, exciting session, I believe. And I'm watching the dollar open up right now, and it's gapping down. Interesting. We're going to let the futures settle out here a little bit. They're just opening up. And what we're going to talk about tonight is a lot of headline news out there. One very sad news item I want to talk about. It has nothing to do with the stock market. And we're going to talk about some coronavirus plays. I was talking with my son about this last night. He brought up one good one, so I'll credit my son with INO. We're going to go over other plays, NVAX, a vertical play on the coronavirus is the GILD. ARL, Rich, and Eric. Hey guys, welcome. We're going to go over a potential short of Apple, and of course we'll go over the futures action. But again, we want to let things settle down here first. This is on a 5-minute chart. Let's pull back here to let's go to a 4-hour. Okay. All right, before we leave this chart, if we close out this 4-hour bar here on the dollar, it's going to be a very negative event. It'll be a breakout point failure on the dollar. We're going to come back here. Let's let this settle out a little bit. Very volatile at the open. Now let's go to the news. And folks, if you're just joining in, if I could ask you that, please hit that like button. It helps me out with the YouTube algorithms. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And subscribe to the channel, get alerted every time we go live. And I want to, I was taken aback. I'm not a big basketball fan, but, you know, there are great players out there, and Kobe Bryant was certainly a great player. And not to minimize the death of other people that were in the helicopter crash with him, but many prayers to Kobe Bryant, his family, and the other passengers on that helicopter. A tragedy. Very sad. Hey, TA. Hi, Bob. We are all going to get coronavirus. Tongue in cheek tonight. All right. We have a crazy crowd tonight. Germano, good to see you. A lot of familiar names. Good stuff. Thanks for joining in, folks. Okay. So, again, many blessings to the Bryant family and to the passengers on that helicopter. Life's so short. Very sad. So we'll move on. All right. So I was actually in Chinatown over the weekend in Manhattan, and this was on my mind. Bat soup was on my mind. So the headlines keep coming out fast and furious. Chinese nurse says 90,000 already infected in emotional plea for help. More and more news coming out. I believe it's already hit Europe. We have more and more cases that are hitting the United States. So this is an evolving story here, and one that's probably going to keep a bid under the pharma names that are going to benefit. I personally like the vertical plays, the Gileads, because if you're wrong, at least you're sitting with Gilead, which is a major player in biotechs to begin with. Gold, I think, is going to be a beneficiary because of geopolitical fear. And there's more than just one contagion out there that has the possibility of spreading globally. And we're not talking about medically. What we're talking about is this. The Fed is trying to stop global economic contagion. They are in the repo market, fast and furious. And to be fair, their balance sheet has come in a little bit, but they're very active in the repo market. And from what Martin Armstrong has to say here, they're trapped. They've been trapped into staying very, very active because the routine players that would be in the repo market, the JP Morgan Chases, whatnot, they're not satisfied with the collateral that other banks are giving them to lend those banks money because they're they're uncertain whether or not they're going to be able to repay. So the Fed is the banker of last resort, and it's not just U.S. banks, it's global banks. Let's go to some comments here. Germano, I have some insights about the coronavirus. My best friend's wife is from the city. Oh, really? Okay, from Yuan. Her parents left the town a few days ago, and the police went to find them. The police are on very high, wow, okay, very high alert, so they're tracking everybody. She said that Yuan, there is really biotech lab researching viruses. Yeah, and there was some comments that came out over the weekend that there was, perhaps this was not an event that was created in a food market. It was an event that could have been taken, that could have occurred in one of their labs over there, and it was for weaponry, and apparently there was some arrests coming out of China, out of Canada. Some researchers were taking coronavirus, was it last year, 2 years ago, out of Canada. So there's more to this story, and it's evolving slowly but surely. So this thing might be really big. Yeah. So yeah, no doubt there's a lot of news coming out. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert here. I do know that I don't like the fact that the Chinese are involved. Lord knows what nefarious stuff they're up to. I never trusted them, and I don't believe a word that they have to say right now. So very sad stuff. Getting back to the contagions, financial contagion, we have medical contagion, and I'll come to this one last, the Tether announcement, which is really interesting. Fresh rocket attack scores direct hit on the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. We now have around 20,000 service members in the Middle East, located in and around the, basically surrounding Iran. And that's not a lot of soldiers, but we have a lot of bases, and they're looking for a reason. And whether or not this is Iran saving face to doing a proxy war through Hezbollah attacking the U.S. embassy, I don't think President Trump is going to differentiate between Hezbollah and Iran. I think they're going to look for a reason to whack these guys and that new general over there. So this is another potential geopolitical hot point. If you see rockets continuing to hit the embassy, let's face it, that's what began the last round of escalations with the eventual killing of the last general in Iraq. So this is not good. It's not getting much play right now, but the military is certainly not ignoring it. So add this along with contagion, both medically and financially. It's setting up to be a very, very interesting week. Now, this I thought was very interesting. And I was waiting for something like this to come out. Tether launches gold-backed stablecoin, begins trading on Bitfinex, and it's gold-backed. So the argument about cryptocurrencies not having a store of value, this has the potential to take that argument away. So this may be something big and certainly something to watch, because apparently, from what I understand, I need to do more research. My research is about as in-depth as reading a Zero Hedge article, but apparently it's a gold back. Is it 100% gold back, 30%? I don't know. We need to research that. And the gold is being held in the Swiss vault. What type of mechanism they have in place to validate that gold is there and backing the stable coin is yet to be seen. But this is going to be very interesting. I think that this is a new turn, a new chapter turning in the cryptocurrency arena. So we'll be watching this one very, very closely. We're going to go to Bitcoin in a moment to see how that's trading on the news, if at all. It may not have any impact whatsoever, but I've always been concerned about what upstart may come in and disrupt Bitcoin's dominance, and we'll see whether or not this has the ability to do so. RL, 5 million travelers left Q1 until they close the border. So we have a lot of potential carriers out there. Yeah. Kurt, hi. I got your message the other day. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I've been meaning to get back to you. Okay. Excellent. Good group tonight. All right, let's take a moment. We'll go over the futures market, and the dollar's only weakened here. We've broken down to fresh lows on the session. So what we're looking for here on the dollar, and I'm rather surprised to see this because when you have geopolitical risk out there, normally what you get is strength in the US dollar, and you're not getting that. So a lot of weakness in the dollar. And if we close down below the support level here, that's a breakout point failure, meaning we managed to close above it here on the 24th, this resistance level. Now, we might as well just turn this red because that should act as support. And it's under pressure. And if we close down below the support level, we will have also broken trend. So this bar just opened. We still have a few hours to go here before it closes. Maybe it'll rally back. Means nothing yet until it closes. So we'll keep an eye on it. Let's take a look at how gold is behaving in the face of the dollar cracking here. And gold is ripping. Ripping. Now, we are long of not gold. We are very long of the gold mining names. And all of our options that we sold covered calls. We've been selling covered calls week after week for the past couple of months, several months. And we're going into the week with no covered positions. So what we'll be looking to do tomorrow is looking to take advantage of the increased implied volatility. And we'll take a look at where we open up tomorrow morning, assuming that we close, or excuse me, assuming that we appear poised to open strong. Because I don't want to get too ahead of myself here and pretend that we're going to hold these gains overnight, because that would be hubris. And I don't like hubris, because whenever I show hubris, I usually lose money. All right, so we're going to be very, very humble tonight. So if the gods of gold shine down upon us and allow us to have gold open up higher tomorrow, I will be grateful. And with that gratitude, I will look to sell covered calls on that strength. Because if we open up tomorrow, as we are opening up right now on the gold miners, above, this is a 4-hour chart, above this third standard deviation Bollinger Band, it means that what we're going to get, just like you had back here, you're going to get a pullback. Just like back here. That's why I'm not that happy that I'm seeing this early strength in gold, because the probability that we're going to sustain this through to tomorrow morning when the regular hours session opens up and we're able to trade options, it's dicey. I would rather have seen it trade up and just stair step up higher overnight, and then at the open spike up higher. So it's setting up nicely here. But again, I want to be very humble and cautious, right? So I would not be a buyer tomorrow morning of gold or the gold miners, assuming that we close where we're at or higher, because you'd be buying with a lot of risk and a potential lot of reward, but a little bit too much risk for that reward, because we're not going to stay here. We're not going to stay above this third standard deviation Bollinger Band. So let's not pretend we're going to. And I said that back here. I said, this will not last. This will not last. And it didn't last. And at that time, we thought the world was going to end. It was World War III. All the headlines were saying World War III. Nonsense. This is not going to last. We are going to get a pullback here. So, more to come. Gold looking good. The dollar is helping. Let's check out silver. Do I have silver on my list here? I should. We own it. We are long of silver. Sorry, folks. I should have been more ready here. Here we go. Silver spiking up. We're up about a 1%. We were up higher. Silver looking very strong. So what we're seeing here is a lot of fear. But the one beneficiary traditionally of fear is the dollar. It's not getting any love tonight. No love whatsoever. Let's go back to the dollar really quick because it's under a ton of pressure. All right, so the dollar's at the lows of the session at current. Let's go back to the 5-minute chart. Members at 7 p.m. tonight. I forgot to mention this. We're gonna do the weekend commentary. I'm gonna go over the weekly charts and discuss how we closed out the week last week and how we plan on positioning for this coming week. That's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll send you out a link in the next few minutes for that session. The dollar is continuing to press lower here. A lot of pressure on the dollar. We just hit new session lows. Back to the 4-hour charts. Let's stick with commodities for a moment. Nat gas, which took it on the chin horribly last week. We've been looking for opportunity here. Let's see whether or not we have anything setting up. And we're going to go over the stock market futures. We're going to go over bonds. Here's nat gas. Nat gas is spiking. So we have a commodity rally here. Would I be a buyer on this spike? No. We still haven't put in higher lows, nor have we put in higher highs. So nat gas is still under a lot of pressure. So despite the fact we're spiking up here, we're up 3%. It means nothing yet. Let's take a look at oil. Oil, which was also under a lot of pressure last week, taking it on the chin today in a very, very big way. I heard they burned that gas as a side product for production. I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. Richard, wow, futures are dropping like a rock. We're going to go to the stock market futures in a moment. All right, so oil is taking it on the chin, and this is not going to help the geopolitical risk. Remember that it's election season. I say this over and over again. I repeat myself. I do it for a reason, to drive a point home. You cannot have layoffs in the fracking sector. It will be horrendous for the president and his reelection of efforts. So expect more saber rattling, especially as you have more and more missiles hit, excuse me, the U.S. Embassy in Iraq. That's not going to be stood for. They will hold Iran accountable. So this is not good. So oil under pressure. I want to take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin higher. It has managed to recapture support. So a very good open here for Bitcoin, because remember, last week at this time, we were in this trading range. And remember, this is a 4-hour chart. And I said, watch for a breakout above this tripwire, this yellow line here. And I had expected it to hold the support level. It did not. We did fight back. We managed to open up this evening session above this support level. So a good rally back here. What I'd like to see, before I got additionally long, we do own some Bitcoin. Before we added any more here, I would like to see a validation that this spike is for real. And what would that look like? What does a validation look like? It would look like this. Let's go to a 5-minute chart. We pull all the way back, we touch this again, and then we rally off of it. Basically a filling of the gap. That's what I want. And then we look to add more on a rally up and through this tripwire. Because if we close above this tripwire in yellow, this is your secondary downtrend, your secondary upper band of resistance. Then we rally, or should rally, up to this primary upper band of resistance in green. So Bitcoin looking good here. But again, I want to see that pullback. We're starting to pull back now. No shock. We're a bit overbought here relative to the third standard deviation Bollinger Band. Watch for filling of this gap. If we don't hold it, you got to avoid Bitcoin. If we break back down below this support level at around 85.15, that's not good. That's very, very bad. So watch for a filling of the gap on Bitcoin. All right, let's go to the stock market futures, and then I want to check out bonds. All right, let's see what we got here. Drum roll, please. The S&P 500 first. Here we go. The week has begun, and it is a disaster area. We are down at current 1%, 33 points on the E-minis. We're going to rally here shortly. I don't think it's going to hold, though. I think we're going to rally up to 32.80, and then we'll probably roll over, just as we did here. We sold off, rallied up into prior resistance, rolled over. We'll probably rally off of this third standard deviation Bollinger Band, and I think that will probably roll over. We did add to our short position. We are currently short of the trip Qs. I would not go shorting into this weakness. Here's the NASDAQ 100. The lower band of support has now broken. We are trading at current down 1.19% or 110 points now on the NASDAQ 100. We're going to come down here to this green line at around just shy. It's going to have an 8 handle on it, but around 9,000. And they'll try to rally it off of that level. This is a 5-minute chart. They're already trying to bounce it. Again, I don't think it's going to hold. Let's take a look at the Russell. And we'll look to add to short positions. But we want to do it not because of FOMO, right? FOMO it's guaranteed to make you lose money eventually. You know, maybe you get lucky every once in a while, but that FOMO, fear of missing out, chasing this market down right now to the short side, that's a fool's errand. Don't do it. We're down about 1% on the Russell. And we're going to pop here. We're going to get a relief rally probably pretty soon. The question is, do we hold or do we roll back over? I think we roll back over. Now, Palladium had a great week last week. It is beginning to weaken up here. We do have a lower high. What we've been lacking is a lower low, and it looks as though we may begin to take out the prior low on Palladium in the next few minutes. Let's go to a 15-minute chart. Here's that prior low here. We're not that far away. We just took it out. So we now have, assuming that we close out this bar where we're at or lower, we now have a top, short-term top. This is a 4-hour chart, right? So treat it, treat it respectfully. It's not a macro breakdown. It's not a double top on a weekly or monthly chart. It's a 4-hour chart, very, very short term. But we are breaking down here. So we have our double top, lower high, and now we have taken out the prior lows. So we're confirmed now. So you're going to see shorts get brave. And the technicians are going to move in and they're going to start leaning into this thing. And we're probably going to go considerably lower, assuming we close down below this support level. I want to check out platinum. I've been watching platinum. Platinum is a environmental play, just like palladium is. It's used in catalytic converters, and what the supply-demand ratio is there relative to palladium, I don't know. All I know is this, is that the chart for platinum is setting up very, very nicely. So what we'll be looking for here is a potential for, it's starting to get ugly. But again, this is a 4-hour chart. I've been watching the monthly chart, and the monthly chart is looking very good. And it looks like we're about to get some pressure on platinum as well. So we'll keep an eye on it. They tried to break it out, rejection. All right, so it can't be bought right now. It's just something to watch right now, platinum. Let's move on. Let's go to bonds. I want to take a look at the 10-year note, not the yield, but the note. Whoa. Whoa. This is a serious move. We're at highs last seen back in August. A huge move. We're up nearly spot 6% on the 10-year Treasury note. This is a huge move. We are trading above the third standard deviation Bollinger Band. RSI on a 4-hour basis is at 85.38. So again, folks, it's a big open. A lot of fear is evident. Does that fear sustain itself overnight? My guess is that you're going to have some headlines that come out and try to defuse this sell-off. Just as you had news out of the FAA last week that they were looking friendly or favorably towards Boeing and how they're fixing the 737 MAX issue. And you saw Boeing shoot up higher. And that's the government intervening. That's President Trump intervening in the markets. And you should expect the same. Here's that spike in Boeing. You should expect the same, maybe out of the Center for Disease Control, trying to calm the nerves of traders and the public regarding coronavirus. Fed might cut rates this Wednesday. They use the crisis to justify the cut. Not a bad thought, Richard. Not a bad thought. Like you're thinking. I think you could be spot on. All right, so a lot going on here. Let's check out the euro, and then we're going to go over to the charts of not much happening on the euro. We're going to go over to the charts of the stocks that stand to do well from this virus, and we will begin with NVAX. All right, so on a monthly basis, we're above a resistance level at 5 spots, 7, 8. We expected a pullback on this late last week, and we got the pullback. Now, what I'm looking for here and this is a risky play, folks. And before I even go into these, I have to say this. You know, this is, if you're going to put money into these names, you have to use speculative dollars, okay? This stock has already more than doubled in the past couple of trading days. So unlike Gilead, which is, I don't want to say real company, it's a diversified company. Many of these companies that I'm going to talk about, it's coronavirus 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. If something doesn't pan out for them, those stocks are tanking. Whereas Gilead, it's going to be around because it's got HIV drugs, hepatitis drugs. It's well diversified. So it may not have as much upside as these names, but it has far less downside. So speculative dollars, and please, if you enter these trades, consider using a trailing stop loss order. That's the way to play these things. Trailing stop loss orders, let the market take you out. So what we're looking for is a breakout above this upper band of resistance here. And again, it's speculative, so speculative. All right, so we're setting our alert now. We'll keep it active for the full week. And I used the wrong line. All right, that's embarrassing. I just did that in front of 34 people. All right, let's try this again, Bob. There we go. Okay. That's better. I'm not going to set an alert if we break down because I really don't care. So I'm not going to try to short it. So keep this active for the week. I like it. And the only reason why I like it is because it's speculative and it could be a mover this week. So in all probability, it's probably going to spike higher tomorrow morning. Gilead, it's above that. It is, yeah. It's already above it. Okay. Well, the way to play it, Darren, is that if it does spike up higher, the play would be is if you get a pullback and a retest of this breakout, right? So it breaks out, pulls back, retests, then you can add with the stop loss right below this, what would be then a support level, if that makes sense. What else do we have? I know. This is my son's play. Okay. And my son has a good eye. This is a pretty chart. All right, so we were in a long-term downtrend, and technically that downtrend is still in effect. We have broken out above an upper band of resistance here. And normally I would be of the mind to say, you know what, Wait for a retest of the breakout point, but you're probably not going to get that. This is going to be a momentum stock. You're going to have a lot of hot money chasing this stock. Nice breakout on the week last week. We did pull back after piercing the third standard deviation Bollinger Band. If for whatever reason God gives you the opportunity on a pullback and a retest of 3.31, that would be a great entry point. Is it likely? No. It's highly improbable that we're going to get that. Not with all the hot money out there chasing these names. So I will do this, though. Just in case. You never know. Suppose they do come out with a comment tomorrow. The CDC comes out, says there's no worries about coronavirus becoming a major issue here in the United States, and they sell it off quickly. Then we may have an opportunity. All right. I typed act quickly because I don't think that it is going to stay there very, very long. I think a lot of technicians like me, they'll be looking at it as like a gift from God, because it gives you the opportunity to put your stop right below a major support level. And really, you worry about your downside, you let your upside take care of itself, right? So that's what I'm thinking about right now. So ideally we get a retest of that support level. Probably not going to happen. Let's take a look at a daily chart. I'm getting texted right now from one of our members. Volume heavy in gold. All right. Thanks, Pat, if you're out there. Okay, daily chart. Man, this thing's so parabolic. I can't buy this. Not right now. It's too hot. We closed out the day off the highs of the day. We still closed above the third standard deviation Bollinger Band. Let's go to a 4-hour chart. As a matter of fact, before we go to a 4-hour chart, I want to overlay a weekly chart. You can see I have my alert. This dashed line here is a weekly overlay on top of a daily chart. Click of a button. Off, on. And ideally, we get that pullback to the support level. This would be an interesting retest here. All right. The discipline is, folks, I can't chase. I won't chase these stocks. All right, so we have 2 alerts set on INO. Weekly support here, daily support here. If it comes to us, great. If it doesn't, we have to let it go. We won't chase it. Gilead. A lot happening here, man. It's weak. Very, very weak. Let's go to a monthly chart first. Gilead. All right, so earlier I mentioned that I would love to see a retest of a support level. And what that would look like, folks, if you're not familiar with it, is what we're seeing right now on Gilead. I happen to love this setup. This is an outstanding setup. So we were in a triangle. Excuse me one second. I have to take a sip of water. Sorry about that. We were in a triangle formation. We broke out here back in November. And since that time, while we put in a new monthly high in December, they couldn't hold it. So what's happening right now is that they pulled it back and they're retesting the support level yet again. This is technicians out there being OCD. I know, I have it. Right? They want to retouch what was resistance for a lot of months. This red line here was resistant for a long, long time. It's now being tested as support. Does it hold? I think it does. So the monthly chart here looks really, really good, very bullish from a macro level on Gilead. That assumes, though, that we close out the month of January above the support level. If it fails and we close down below it, I don't want anything to do with it. So weekly chart, not a good week last week. Despite the fact it closed up higher, not a good week. And the reason why I say it's not a good week is that we were up on the week, but we closed well off the highs of the week, and they're supposed to be a beneficiary of this coronavirus, or potential beneficiary, perceived beneficiary. You know, the markets are a forward-looking mechanism. And last week, they did not give Gilead a vote of confidence. So we'll see what this week brings. But this here is worthy of an alert. I want to see a breakthrough. In fact, if we even get in the neighborhood, I want to know about it. So if it touches, if it bounces, if it breaks through, we want to know about it. Okay, possible long on breakout. So what does that mean? It means that I frankly don't care, unless the daily charts or 4-hour charts persuades me otherwise. I don't care what Gilead does until such time as it closes above this current resistance level. Again, we're not going to hope when we should fear. Daily chart. Not a good, horrible day on Friday. Horrible. This is very close to an outside reversal day. One might argue because it engulfed the open and close of the prior day that you can consider it that, but it didn't completely engulf the entire day's price range. So I won't call it that. So what I'll be watching for here is whether or not we have a dead cat bounce, frankly, on Gilead. And if we break down below the support, that's the market saying there's no here. Go elsewhere. 4-hour chart. Let's get rid of this one. We have our alerts set here. I'm satisfied with our alert from a risk-reward perspective. So Gilead needs to trade above this resistance level for us to want to get long of it. And if it does close above that level, I think that we're probably going to go a lot higher because Friday's price action was horrible and it should go lower. The week's price action was not good. It closed up, but it closed well off the highs of the week. So if it manages to break out above this resistance level, that's a tell. That means there's something going on there. So I would pay a lot of attention to it. So more to come on Gilead. Let's talk about Apple. We go to the comments first. World Health Organization may reclassify concerns this week. 5 confirmed U.S. cases, question mark. 1 in Toronto, Canada. Okay. And for those folks just joining, if I could ask you to, can you hit that like button, please? I'd appreciate it. Thank you very much. Is there corona infected in Canada? I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I haven't heard Canada. I heard the new region to get it was Europe. And I don't know whether that's confirmed yet or not. So I don't want to be the spreader of inaccurate information. Let's take a look at Apple. All right, so Apple is, as a matter of fact, let's use my annotated charts. Oh my God, it is so sad, Meister. I don't know what that means. Canada has it? That's a fact, huh? Sad. All right. Apple. We've been trolling Apple, stalking Apple for weeks now. And it's about ready to get shorted. As a matter of fact, tomorrow may be too late. But Apple is weak on a daily basis, not on a weekly basis. We still have RSI at 89.59. We reversed on the week last week. Volume is fairly light. MACD histogram now is weakening. Daily chart. Bearish reversal bar and a break below the lower band of support on a daily basis. So Apple, all the signals are there that we are going to correct, and now it's just a matter of time of identifying what is the best risk-reward entry point. And if they gap it down tomorrow, that doesn't mean I'm chasing it. We'll wait for a setup to come to us. If it doesn't come to us, then we ignore it. 2 in Chicago, 1 in Arizona, 1 in Seattle area, and 1 in Chicago. Oh boy. Are Apple's doing earnings on Tuesday? Okay, thank you for that. All right. Let's go back and check out the futures, see if we've changed at all. I just got a text from Patrick that Palladium is now down 38, so it's really falling apart. All right, so we expected a rally back on the dollar. We got the rally back. Does it hold? I don't think it's going to. Let's check out the other averages. S&P continued to weaken. We're coming off the lows now. We're probably going to rally. It's going to be a dead cat bounce. We're still trading down below the 3rd standard deviation Bollinger Band. Gold. Oh, yeah. Gold's coming off. Still strong, but it's coming off. So no shock there. Now, this is a 15-minute chart. What I'll be looking for is for it to hold the support level. If we break out, then this is a real serious healthy rally on gold. But this may not hold. And members, I'm going to send you out a link in a couple of minutes to the members Inner Circle. Get your symbols ready. I'll go over your symbols. And with that, folks, if I can ask you to hit that like button. Everybody have a profitable week, please. Thanks for spending a few moments of your time with me on a Sunday evening. I know your time is valuable. And members, I will see you at 7 p.m. Members Inner Circle, everybody have a great night. Be well.